New Saga episode 4. So, this episode kicks off with getting a recap of the previous episode with Kyle and this Grand Spirit just kind of talking about the plan of the so called assassination of the princess and how it was very scandalous, like how it something felt off about it, and they were pretty much going to use that opportunity to build their group up to be the new heroes of this world or this timeline. And yeah, a pretty great plan. And who else but Diron kind of shows up and it's like, listen, I know you're gonna use this opportunity to fabricate you being yourself a hero, but let's use this as this misfortune to my advantage as well, because he wanted to be like the playboy. He wanted to be like put himself up for the princess, kind of make hype himself up to be better person than what he is. And you know, it's one of those things where Kyle was like, "Damn, I can't believe I had the same thought as you for once." Um, but yeah, no, it starts this journey really starts off pretty good as now we find out that the Grand Spirit's true form is really just a sword, and that the current body that we see is like a projection of sorts from it. So it was very interesting getting that revelation for once, and they used it to their advantage to keep an. It turned the projection that they had from a human body to a hawk. So like now they had like a whole bird's eye view of the whole thing. They can keep an eye on the princess carriage, see when it gets attacked, and swoop in at the right moment to save them. And lo and behold, the drivers of the carriage kind of like started attacking the knights that were protecting the princess. So it was just the right time that Kyle and them started showing up. Uh, on these fake knights or fake protectors kind of like lured had this lure that kind of attracted hellhounds to attack the carriage, so now they had to deal with the hellhounds as well as the hydra that was incoming. So it was pretty nice planning from the people involved, where they were essentially going to have the monsters be the whole the monsters were going to be the ones that conveniently attack the princess. The hellhounds would eat the bodies, and then of course they had no idea of the impending hydra, so the hydra would also be kind of like the main source of like how Kyle not predicted, but how Kyle saw it in his future timeline, where they realized that the hydra was there on its way to the princess as well. But yeah, so instead of just focusing on protecting the princess, Kyle realized, okay, well, one of us has to go and take care of the Hydra. Uh, so he left his friends there to like help protect the carriage from the Hellhounds, while Theron found a way to like fix the carriage that somehow ended up being broken. And lo and behold, he goes and he meets the Hydra. And before that, like Kyle was pretty uh, felt pretty good about himself, because he in his past life he had faced a three-headed hydra before, and even though it was tough for him, he was like, yeah, I managed to do it. Not too shabby, if I do say so myself. But then once he came across this one had 8 heads, so that's really big. As the more heads the hydra has, the stronger it gets in this world. And due to that, we find out why Kyle ended up getting a bunch of blizzard stones and explosion stones, was essentially to help him deal with the hydra, as like their skin is very tough to pierce with swords and stuff. So magic was really the one way to deal like actual damage. So I did like the initial plan he had, where he would freeze up the heads and then explode them with their stones. And as he stopped getting less and less stones, he started realizing, well, this is just not gonna work out in my favor. I'm losing all I've lost all my blister stones. I have more explosion stones than blister stones. So instead, he came up with the brilliant plan of actually being able to go and pierce the Hydra if he used like his most strongest puncturing attack, and then he planted an explosion stone in the Hydra, which ended up working and destroyed the Hydra from inside out. So Not even the Hydra could protect his insides. And yeah, once he arrived back, it was like, oh, you kind of Rick Hydra, you should go shower. And then they found a way to like wake up the princess and her help, which then Kyle had to kind of let him know kindly that they were being plotted to be assassinated, and the maid and the had to end up burning the bodies as they find out that people that were in cohorts with this cahoots with her brother were actually planning to assassinate her, and the princess actually knew that the prince wanted to assassinate her along with the knight Santos, who is Kyle's former teacher, which kind of lets you already know that there's like some personal conflict that's gonna happen with Kyle once he faces Santos, and we're gonna get to see him truly be the student that has to surpass the master, because now that the the princess made him well aware that we have to run, get out of here. There's no going back anymore. So they essentially made it look like the Hydra or monsters ended up destroying them, and also burned the bodies to kind of buy them time to where like if Santos and the man were coming, they would have to take some time to kind of analyze the bodies and figure out if she was actually within them, which I found really interesting. And also having the princess not be like some naive one, as they led us to believe in the previous episode that she was kind of like this nice princess, was really really great. Like I don't like the fact that uh, women in anime just are like damsels in distress. I like them when they're kind of like empowering, and I also like when they give more than just like being a pretty face. And this princess definitely gave a vibe of like, no, she knows exactly the political moves that are happening within her country. She's not just a dimwit, and she actually has uh, kind of things in place to help her not fall into traps. But this was the one time that she ended up falling into one of them, and luckily for her, Kyle was there to show her. But yeah, I really am enjoying this anime. This was a great episode. I think this was a nice 7 out of 10.